Lots of games nowadays have female characters as the main protagonists. This is a very smart move, considering that the majority of the videogame fans out there are men, so using a well-designed, charismatic, and attractive character is a win-win scenario. In fact, attractive girls are unlikely to leave our screens, they sell their products, and they captivate our attention with everything they do. So, it is impossible to compile a definite top, especially since everyone has different tastes. David Leitch may have used the success of John Wick as a springboard to launch himself towards a well-deserved reputation as one of the finest action directors working today, with his last two movies, Deadpool 2 and Hobbs Shaw, both earning over $750 million at the box office. But his first solo effort as a director is frequently overlooked, and remains one of the most underrated action movies of recent years. Atomic Blonde starred Charlize Theron as MI6 super spy Lorraine Broughton, and the vast experience that both the Academy Award-winning actress and her director possessed when it came to crafting expertly choreographed stunts and set pieces resulted in a stylish and bone-crunching movie focused on a no-frills hero played by an A-list action star that unsurprisingly invited comparisons to a certain Mr. So. This material does not claim to be like a definitive top 10, the one that everyone has to accept as the truth, of course not. It includes characters who are beautiful and interesting in our personal opinion, and we encourage you to make up your own list of favorite female characters. Wick. A sequel to Atomic Blonde was recently confirmed to be in the works at Netflix, while John Wick, Chapter 4 is set to start shooting as soon as Keanu Reeves finishes up his commitments to The Matrix 4. Given the shared creative minds behind both well-dressed merchants of violence, the idea of a crossover between the two characters is a mouth-watering prospect. Charlize Theron clearly agrees, too, and in a recent interview the star of Netflix's upcoming The Old Guard admitted that she'd jump at the opportunity to do some sort of team-up. "Listen, as soon as I get the call, I'll be there. They just have to tell me where, when, and I'll show up. Keanu is one of my most favorite people in the whole wide world, I absolutely love him. I respect him, I admire him, and I am so grateful that I got to make 2 movies with him. I am sure that it will be quite easy to make up a top 50 list, but to compile a top 10 list will be quite hard, so let's not waste our time anymore. We both kind of find ourselves in this new stage of our career, and so much of Atomic Blonde was influenced by John Wick. Here's our list of top 10 female characters in multiplayer games: Phoebe, Battleborn the inventor, adventurer, and heiress of one of the largest states in the Last Light Consortium. Phoebe Elizabeth Adelia Hemsworth IV is not someone to sneeze at. So, if we can get those two characters to meet up in a timeline that makes sense, I'm all about it. Once Atomic Blonde 2 and John Wick, Chapter 4 are in the can, you'd have to be insane not to pursue the idea of a crossover. David Leitch provides the connective tissue. The stars have been friends for decades, having first worked together in 1997's The Devil's Advocate, and are also regarded as 2 of cinema's premier action heroes, and the idea of the franchises crossing over would have fans of the genre turning up in massive numbers for what would surely be a nailed-on hit movie. I mean, she controls floating rapiers. How can you even consider messing with her? The character turned out quite original and unique. When thinking about Battleborn, it is her image that appears in our minds. Laura, Street Fighter V. Laura, in our opinion, is the best original character of Street Fighter V. Her fighting style is unique, just like herself. Restless and active and having no boundaries, Laura constantly gets into trouble, but it's just as easy for her to make friends. Her playful nature is also manifested in her outfit, a fashionable asymmetrical hairstyle, a deep cleavage, a sports top, and a lot of bracelets on her hands. And I mean, how can you not become her friend, considering her looks? Senua, Hellblade, Senua's sacrifice. Senua is a complicated lady. Her heart is occupied by the lost lover, and the mind is inhabited by voices, which gives reason to consider her insane. However, she is so devoted to her beloved that she embarks on a dangerous journey in spite of any obstacles and roadblocks ahead of her, because she hopes for even a small chance that she will be able to get him back to life. How many girls are capable of that? She is strong not only in spirit but also in terms of her physique. She fights with monsters and giants and other representatives of mythological fauna. She isn't afraid of anything, and she won't stop because of anything that life, or rather hell, throws at her. Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice should be in your list of games to play just to get to know her character better. Senua looks like a proper Nordic and Slavic beauty, she is simply gorgeous. If you want to meet a woman like her, then be sure to visit this single Russian girls dating site. Find your own Senawa, don't miss out. Los, Divinity, Original Sin 2. Here's yet another redhead on our list, and I mean, what can I do about the fact that they are cute? Los is one of the main characters of Divinity, Original Sin 2. A bright girl with an eccentric character, she is a musician and an actress, at least in terms of the performance that is happening in her head where several voices live. Apparently, these voices try to take over her at all times, yet she seems fine for the most part. However, this fact does not make the heroine less attractive, rather the opposite. Maria, Neo has a lot of beautiful women. For example, one of the best female characters in the game is Maria. She is a smoking hot blonde Spaniard who is also a spy. She is a girl who knows how to kill a man in 1001 way, and she cannot be called weak. Actually, Maria proves it more than once during this game. Would you risk saying a word against a girl who not only gracefully lures you into her web but also is capable of killing a man without showing any weaknesses? Princess Leia, Star Wars Battlefront 2. That same beautiful princess which many of us remember from childhood. She looks gentle and fragile, but in fact, she is the leader of the rebels, and no one is better at it than Leia. She cannot really be called defenseless despite the fact that, in terms of her appearance, Leia is the closest Star Wars has to perfection. Without her, Star Wars Battlefront 2 would no longer be the same, so it is with confidence we can say that it is she who makes this game worth playing because don't make me started on their in-game store. But Leia is great there. Cassie Cage, Mortal Kombat X restless daughter of Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade is a pain in the ass of her parents. But even at her young age, she is the successful savior of the world, who can add something like that into their resume. Cassie got a great pedigree, and she has something to brag about, even before she steps foot on a battlefield. While I would not call her as charismatic and as well developed as her parents, she has a long road ahead of her. She has a lot of potential. She loves to take selfies of herself and of her dead enemies. Jessica Miller, Need for Speed, Payback. The Need for Speed series is legendary, there is no doubt about it. And when it comes to women, NFS doesn't lack whatsoever. It is common for EA to use real-life models to be cast as NFS characters, which is a good thing because all of them look beautiful. Yet we are concerned with Need for Speed, Payback for the sake of this list. Jessica Miller is a charismatic and strong woman, she always got your back when you need her the most, and don't get me started on her looks, the word gorgeous doesn't serve her well, she is something else. Chun-Li, Street Fighter. Mrs. Hypertrophied legs, an Interpol officer, and part-time Chinese officer, Chun-Li is among the most legendary video game characters out there. She appeared for the first time in 1991 in the game called Street Fighter II, you might have heard of it. It was she who became the very first female character in fighting games. She is one of the most recognizable video game characters in history, so it is given that she would be on this list. You can make an entire essay about her legs. Compared to the rest of her body, they are just huge. She is something else, not only are her legs gorgeous, but she can kick the absolute crap of everyone she sees. Poison, Street Fighter. But if Chun-Li is a true fighter, then the smoking hot Poison looks more like a porn star, which is emphasized not only by her forms and the sexual outfit but also by her behavior. As we've already said, and as you know, most of the players in fighting games are male, so a character like Poison fully meets the public demand. The American audience was so outraged by this character that the designer Yukiro Yasuba had to urgently declare that Poison was actually a transvestite. Poison appeared in various stories and comics from Capcom. Her most recent participation occurred in the game Street Fighter X Tekken. Her being in the first place is just a personal preference more than anything else.